Ooh, wow. Been tasting some wine here with my great friend Mike Sullivan and Benovia Winery. For those of you that don't know Benovia, it is a great winery located right here in Russian River Valley. I got to grow up here in this area, and Mike, you grew up just down the road. You were kind of what we call where your house was, kind of Bennett Valley, Sonoma Mountain kind of area there. Just what would we say as far as a crow flies? How far is it from here?
Oh, it's probably 6 miles from here.
6 miles as a crow flies, but how long would it take us to get there? Probably 25 minutes. Based on traffic. Yeah. That's how, when I was a kid growing up in Sonoma County and you too, there were like 70,000 people. And before I moved out to Oregon for a couple of years and then came back to Petaluma, 70,000 people, that is more than doubled.
Absolutely.
But, so has the popularity of wine from Sonoma County. I think that's one of the reasons that we're sitting down here today is we're discussing some really fun things about Sonoma County vintners with Mike and, this winery being a great part of that established group of wine producers here in Sonoma County. As I mentioned in so many times, 2019, this county won the best wine region of the world by the wine enthusiasts, and we've gotten to see a lot of things change here, and they're always for the good, actually, because we have become even more of an agricultural zone than we ever thought we would, and it's based on grapes.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's great.
Yeah, I love it. So, we were talking before in this prior conversation that we had before we started this reel here is, the barrel auction that the Sonoma County vintners have started, they started 7 years ago, and it's raised over $37 million overall for Sonoma County, and all the kinds of proceeds that they do, a lot of them are given to charities and also to help support the promotion of this area to the world. And you have a special lot coming up in this special wine auction that's coming up in May. It's going to be May 5th through May 7th, and it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to be fun virtually because we have to do it that way this year. In the past, we've done it. We've come out here. I've been sitting here having oysters with you and drinking this fine Chardonnay with oysters and drinking your bubbles and all these great things. But there's a determination this year for people, and I think we learned a lot about it last year with the appreciation of wine. Wine got us through a lot of hard times last year, and this year is a big time to kind of change that. But, we've been swamped so far with people wanting to come here, that have been they've been tasting great wines at home, but they sure want to get out. And here we go. This part of the auction is really just for members of the trade this year, and that's these are the people once again that are retailers of wine, sommeliers like myself, great restaurateurs, and Mike, it's a big deal for you to make a special lot for this. Tell everyone a little bit about that lot that you made.
Yeah, so it's an honor to participate. We've been participating every year since it started. We chose to offer a 5K slot from our Cohn Vineyard, which is our oldest estate property, from a single clone from the Mount Eden selection up there. And I think that it captures the essence of that property. It's really unique and distinctive. It's not something we've ever released on its own. And it's an opportunity for the restaurateur or the retailer to come in and get something that never before and never again. Yeah. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Never before, never again. That is the theme here. So very small lots, very small, like this is one basically barrel that you're making just for this one person or company or retailer shop that is lucky enough to buy this lot. There will be 77 lots overall, so you are one of 77, and you're luckily at the beginning.
Yeah, lot number 5.
Yeah. Joe and Marianne, who you're partners with here, are so great. They're wonderful people, and they always bring great buyers here. And I think you'll probably have some people that have already probably been looking at this lot. It just seems to work that way.
Yeah, we send samples out. Each of the wineries that participate send samples out prior to the event so that the customers have a chance to preview as they've selected lots that they might be interested in. But it really is an amazing opportunity for us as producers to taste other producers' wines when we're not during pandemic times, when we actually have in-person events. But this is just as exciting.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a lot going on, just for everyone out there, I mean, there's one of those barrels that's available. Someone's going to buy it. But for consumers that come here, now we can talk about something that you make. You've got a couple wines here that we've been tasting. And these are very small vineyards versus the Martello, which we're on right now, is a kind of a widespread vineyard. Tell us a little bit about these two wines.
Yeah, so we have two of our estate properties that we release as single vineyard wines. The first is our Cohn Vineyard. This is our oldest estate property. These vines were planted in 1970, so they're 51-year-old vines.
1970. Where were you guys in 1970? I bet you some of you out there, you weren't even alive yet.
So really, really interesting site with complex soils. It's a wine that really develops in the bottle, like Grand Cru Burgundy. They say that it doesn't ripen on the vine, but it actually ripens in the bottle. We find that with this one, it's got great longevity. Wine that can be drunk in 8 or 10 or 12 years from vintage. Really, really neat single vineyard wine.
Yeah. Amazing texture to this wine, and I think that I've been up there with you before. It's a very lifted kind of vineyard. How high is that vineyard?
It's about 900 feet elevation.
Yeah.
And then the other wine that we have for you is its counterpart. This is from the Freestone area, from Bodega Headlands. Yeah. It's still in the Russian River Valley, but right on the southwest corner. Very cold. This is a site that in July, August, September, we rarely see temperatures above 75 degrees in a normal year. So it's close enough to the ocean that has tremendous marine influence. The vines really struggle. It's a high-risk, high-reward site. Yeah. And it produces a wine with lots of potpourri, almost a wild quality, a little bit of a soubois, forest floor thing. Yeah, it's got a gamier kind of character. You could just tell it's a bigger, structured wine. It just has a little bit more muscle than the first one. It's kind of funny because, the Cohens it was owned by these two sisters. So, I get the feminine thing here, but I also get the minerality of this, and it's a really lovely one. And before we move on from this, is this the Clone 37 too that's in here? So there's a little bit of that, but this is mostly Massal selection from the old vines. So this is a mix of lots of different things. Yeah. Whatever Pinot Noir was available in Sonoma County back in 1970, which is probably Pomard and Martini. Yeah, so that's a very good point here. So when we talk about clones, this is something where you can get as nerdy as you want with wine, especially Pinot Noir. We talk about the clones, but what was planted back in the old days, we didn't have like a lot of decisions to make because there were only so many cuttings available. And in many cases, these were kind of more selections that got numbers put to them, usually by UC Davis or something like that. We go up to Oregon, you get Vadensville, which is 2A, and then we have all these new Dijon ones that are 114, 667, 777, 828. These are the kind of the more traditional ones, that the Martini clone and the Pomard clone. They were just kind of the things that were available back in the old days. So I think that this is a really good example of something that's different. But you took, for your auction lot, you took a very small little part of this. Yeah, it's a different section of the vineyard that we actually have some varietal, some clones planted and separated. Right. So we took one of those that's, I think it's was a 2 or 3 barrel lot, and we took just the very best barrel of that from the vintage and offer that up as its own wine for the auction this year. That's great. Yeah, Clone 37 is a very interesting one from Mount Eden. And Mount Eden is in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Actually, Mary Edwards is credited with the woman who took cuttings from there, took $500 out of her own pocket and went to UC Davis and said, can we make this into a clone? And she did. She got it. And that is planted up there. And that's what that auction lot is going to be, just that Clone 37 by itself, which is going to be very, very cool for these people that get the chance to purchase that. So the Tilton, on the other hand, this is really far out there. How far from here, like as the crow flies, or how long would it take us to get to the vineyard? Because you do drive that. Yeah, no, it probably takes us 20 minutes to get to the vineyard, and it might only be 5 or 7 miles from here. Yeah. Again, 800 feet elevation, southeastern facing slope. These are all marine sedimentary soils that are maybe 4 or 5 million years old that used to be under the ocean bottom. So it's been uplifted through geologic activity, really cold coastal influence. And this is a blend of mostly heritage clones as well. Yeah, heritage. We've got some heritage. Just the fact that you and I have been here for
so long and, you know, having a great time tasting these wines. This has got a deeper, broader kind of appeal. You know, I'm thinking gamey kinds of meats, and I'm thinking definitely some steak and things like that. Whereas with this, salmon and definitely some really nice kind of fish dishes that you could do with this, or just, you know, do like a, you know, wild kind of mushroom risotto. That sounds really good with this one. Whereas we're getting a little bit bigger here. You know, as far as the structure goes, how would you describe this?
It's got a lot more acid. It certainly has more color, and it's got a little more tannin. But I think, you know, what I really find exciting about Pinot Noir is that it's an expression of the place that it's grown, the soil, the climate. And as we taste through different single vineyard wines, they're very distinctively different. Yeah. They have different textures. They have different aromatics, and as you mentioned, they pair with different dishes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting too, because I get a lot of, and it's almost something that I get out of this area almost every single time. And this is the kind of more of the Freestone Occidental area. It's blue fruit. I get this little tart blueberry that's exploding in the back of my mouth, and it's got acid. It's got everything you want. How far is that vineyard from the ocean?
You know, it's probably 7 miles.
7 miles from the ocean. That's it. You know, that's what Pinot Noir is all about. It's where you place it and how it needs this kind of cooler climate conditions. You can't grow Cabernet Sauvignon in these kinds of areas right here, and that's a good thing, because Pinot likes it. And what we've done with, especially here in Sonoma County, of researching this, and you've been right there on the front line. I mean, you've been making wine for how many years now?
For a long time. I started in the industry over 30 years ago.
Yeah, me too. So, you know, it's just fun to watch this, but also to reward people that love wine, that get the chance to come here and visit Benovia Winery, but also those bidders that get to, you know, buy that amazing barrel and share those flavors with so many people that will be able to drink those 5 cases of wine. It's a pretty good thing for everyone involved. So I want to thank you, Mike, for having me over and just to really kind of go through these wines with you, to catch up, have some fun together. We have fun away from this. We drink good cocktails together. We drink great beers together, and we're just good friends. But we've actually, me as a writer and a sommelier, get to hang out with these winemakers who we kind of grew up together, and we got to see what happened here. And we're very proud of Sonoma County and the great vintners and growers that are here.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks to you guys all for checking out the show once again. The Varietal Show will be back next week, and thanks again. Cheers!